Welcome to another episode of the. Hold on. I got stuck on repeat. All right, hold on. Let's start that over. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Elevated Barbers podcast. My name is Bradford Kelly. I am the owner of Another Level of Barbering. If you haven't looked it up, go ahead and look it up. It's the name of my barbering suite. And I'm here with my co host, Delmar. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
This is Delmar, aka the Prince, owner of Royal Lux Grooming and co-host with Bradford Kelly of Elevated Barbers.
We are here with another very, very good episode. And as you all can tell here on YouTube, we a little close today. We're a little close because we're about to talk about a very, very serious topic. And so we've had some jokes, we've had some laughs, and we're gonna have some laughs even today. But the topic matter is the impact of COVID and what did it change for us in our um situations. We've been both barbers for many years. I've been a barber since 2005. I got my license in 2007. And there has been a lot of changes that, I've gone through in as a owner of this business. I was an owner of my life, right? And COVID was probably the most impactful uh, time I think that I can think of because I had to face a lot of things personally as well as professionally that I had never had to face before. And we wanted to talk about that and see if we could kind of get into some of the thought processes behind the changes that we've made. What are some of the reasons? How did COVID really impact us? And hopefully, you guys get a lot out of this episode because I'm sure that if you, if you had a business, if you were a barber, if you had any form of a business, you know that you've had to go through a lot of changes during the COVID scenario. You had to have a pivot in some way. Some things opens doors, other things shut some stuff down that you thought you were going to be able to do, and you had to change and kind of recalibrate where your future was going to go because you realized that it had to be different. So Delmar, let's get into this topic, man. And before we go into the COVID scenario, let's just bring in a timeline, and I want you to kind of explain to me where were you at this point in time. So COVID shut down the world mid-March. I believe it was about March 8th, March 10th, like around there, where almost everybody had to just go home. And this is nationwide. This wasn't even like a region. This was the whole nation, and a lot of the world was impacted with the same scenario. But it hit America like around March, I believe, like strongly, and then everything shut down.
Mhm.
But prior to that, you had a holiday season, right? And then you have the new year. So at the end of 2019, looking into 2020, what was on your mind? Do you remember your mindset at that time period? Like, were you what was going on?
So of course, capping off 2019 was a pretty good year, and then each year I always strive to make more, be better, um, integrate new services. So I was really looking forward to 2020. I had some things lined up, some services I wanted to do. I had just gotten a new camera, so I was looking forward into stepping my game up as far as branding myself on social media. And then boom, March happened, the pandemic happened, shut everything down. So for the first 2, 3 weeks, I was like, okay, this not bad. I needed some time off anyway. I wasted in my first 2, 3 weeks. I was like, man, I'm about to get on this video game. I'm about to do this, about to do that, about to work out. And by the middle of the third week, I was like, man, this not it. Like
What time period was this? This is like mid March that you're talking about.
this was mid March going into April.
Okay.
So I'm like, man, this is not it. Like I'm sitting at home with way too much time on my hands, right?
Yeah.
I'm not being productive. Of course, I don't have any money coming in. So my wife, she works in the medical field. So of course, she was deemed essential, right?
Yeah.
So I would be at home by myself. Um, just way too much time on my hands, wasted time. And I'm saying to myself, like, okay, this not good. Like, of course we was getting paid unemployment during this time. And I'm thankful for that. But I don't. I'm like, man, I can't keep living off of unemployment. Now
Yeah.
at this point, I'm dipping into the savings.
Yeah.
I'm seeing different programs coming to my phone about business owners being able to get certain loans, being able to get certain grants during this time. So I did get a couple of those, and that did help substantiate, for me being out of the shop.
Yeah.
And then
It
fast
took so
forward,
long for that though, man.
it did. I know, for you was out longer than I
I was,
was.
yeah. It
So
was bad.
we were able to go back in June, but prior to that, um, this is when Hustler's ambition kick in. So probably like the middle of April, I was like, you know what? I'm not about to just sit around and not do anything no more. I'm about to try to find a way to make money while this is going on, because ain't no telling how long we're going to be out of work. We don't know how long the unemployment funds are going to last, because I think at that time in Louisiana they gave us an extra 600 on
Mhm.
top of the 240 a week or something like that. So I'm like, man, I need to find a way to make some extra money. So I was taking the unemployment money and investing it into learning how to make products. YouTube University, right? So this is when I came out with the brand DNA Organics, and that was the start of my product line. So I had a body butter, hair butter, a wave butter, I mean, and a facial.
Shampoo. You didn't have the shampoo at that point?
I didn't have the shampoo at that point. It was the facial, the body butter, and the wave butter. I did away with the facial because I couldn't get the formula down. But the body butter and the whey butter was selling pretty good. So, I would promote that the products are coming out soon. And then the night that it dropped, I woke up to X amount of money. I was like, man, I can see myself doing this. I made money while I was asleep. Of course, I had to put the work in to make the products by hand, but it felt good having those orders coming in, money coming into my account, being able to ship out those orders. So then, long story short, I would do that, and then we were able to go back to work in June in Louisiana. So,
Okay. So how long were you making the products? Like for like all of April, all of May?
so I made the products from mid-April until about August. I want to say I was still making them by hand.
But before you went to the shop, before you went back to the shop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So from like mid-April
Mid-April
through
to
all
the
the way
end of
through
May.
May,
Yeah,
and then June comes and you're back in the shop.
I'm back in the shop, and I'm still making the products from home. By this time, I'm starting to get a little too busy, so I can't keep up with orders. And then I run across somebody who I've been knowing for a long time, and he pointed me in the direction of getting my products manufactured. So that happened. Here comes I dissolved DNA Organics. Here comes Prince Gold Label products. So this is when I had the shampoo, conditioner, the beard oil, the free spray, um, in the wave cream, the wave pomade, oh, and the curling cream too.
Mhm.
So I begin to sell those. That's on autopilot. And then a tragic situation happened to me in August.
This is
Bro, when I
August 2020.
yep, same year. So
Okay.
went back to work June, was working June, July. August comes, probably towards the beginning of August, leaning towards the middle of August. I had a tragic situation happen to me health wise. And
Mm.
we thought it was COVID, but it wasn't COVID. Um, Bro, and when I tell you this was probably the scariest moment of my life. I did not think I was going to make it.
Mm.
So I overnight on a Wednesday night, drenched in sweat. I wake up the next morning, Thursday morning, and my wife checks my temperature. 103.5.
Are you serious?
103.5. At this point, I noticed that my breathing was starting to decline a little bit, but it wasn't impactful. So she's like, "Oh, you can't go to work. Your temp is 103.5." Me being an idiot, I'm like, "I'm gonna just drink
No, you
something
didn't
cold."
go to work,
Yeah, I went
bro.
I went to work. But my temp dropped down from 103.5 to 99, so I thought I was in the clear.
Did you test for COVID? You had tested
I
for
tested
COVID?
tested for COVID, came back negative. So
So
um I went
you
to
was
work
just
that
having a
Thursday.
personal summer and a short breath situation?
Man, bro.
That's not funny though, because that's very dangerous that you went to work anyway. But that's man, we be struggling in our the barber mindset. But go ahead.
So I go to work probably middle of the day, closer to me taking my lunch. I start feeling weak and I get hot again, got the chills. So I'm like, nah, I don't feel right. Cancel the rest of my schedule and went home. So the same exact thing happens Thursday night, middle of the night, drenched in sweat again. I must have changed shirts like 2, 3 times. I'm like, why am I sweating this
Mm,
much?
yeah.
So I wake up, temp 103.5.
Again.
Brad, when I woke up this time, it was like, there's no way I should be going to work. Yep. I went to work
You did
like
it
an
again?
like an idiot. I went to work again with a mask on because at this time, this was during the height of COVID.
Yeah.
So COVID was bad around this time, and I have my mask on. Bro, I was cutting everybody so fast. Midway of my first head, I took my mask off. I was like, at this point, I don't care if I get COVID. I can't breathe. So it's,
Yeah.
it's already hard enough as it is trying to breathe with an N95 on. And then on top of that, I didn't realize that my breathing was getting my oxygen was getting
Shallower?
low. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was getting shallow, it was getting low. I got the chills nonstop. I can't figure out why. So this is the middle of summertime in August in Louisiana. For
Mm.
those of you who have never been to Louisiana in August, it is extremely hot. It's hotter in August than it is in July and June. So this day it had to be about 97, 98 degrees. I go to lunch. Well, first of all, my wife called, check on me. You okay? I'm like, nah. I could barely even talk, bro. My breathing was that bad. I could barely even get words out.
Mm.
So Traven is across the room from me. He's paying attention to me, make sure I'm good. I don't pass out. And then his mother-in-law calls me to make sure I'm good. And then I had another friend of mine. He came and he had to drop something off to me. And he was like, "Man, you don't look good. You need to go home." So I'm like, "Man, this the third, fourth person that told me I need to go home."
Yeah.
So I eat my lunch. I'm sitting in my car. I'm eating hot soup in my in my car in
Yeah.
98-degree weather,
Cause you
and
cold?
I'm freezing, bro. Got the chills, and I
Mm.
can't warm up for no reason. I'm sitting in the car with no AC on, eating hot soup in
That's
98-degree weather,
crazy.
and I cannot warm up for no reason. So I had one more person come after my lunch, but I texted everybody else and was like, I'm canceling my schedule for the day. I'm not feeling well. I need to go home. So fast forward, I cut him, drive home. I barely make it home, right? To this part, at this time, I lived in a apartment complex. I live on the second floor. So I'm parked in my car for like 5 minutes just to try to warm up, gather some energy to walk up the steps.
Yeah.
I walk up the steps, halfway there, I had to stop, catch my breath, get up there
Are you
again,
serious?
and I finally get to my door. And as soon as I unlocked my door, I just dropped everything. I dropped my bag, I dropped everything. I'm like, man. So I called my wife. She
Like
calls.
on the phone or she was in the house? He was like, "Hey, babe."
No, she was at work.
Okay.
She was at work. So I call her. She calls Trey's mother-in-law. She lived close to us at the time. She just now this is the weekend that she was supposed to work. She just so happened to be off this weekend. So thank God for that. So she comes to the house. I walk down the stairs, get in her car. She brings me to the after hour clinic across the street from the apartment complex. Bro, literally, when I walked in, I told them what was wrong with me, what symptoms I had. They thought, must be COVID. Tested me for COVID, negative again. They take my vitals, bro. My breathing was in the high 70s, mid to high 70s.
Mm,
You're not supposed to drop lower than 91.
yeah.
So temp still high, still triple digits. My breathing is bad. It was so bad they couldn't even do anything for me there. They didn't even touch me. They was like, we just need to call the paramedics. Like it's that bad. So my first time on back
Wow.
of the ambulance truck, I'm on oxygen and I'm struggling to breathe with oxygen on.
Oh
Struggling to
my
breathe with oxygen
God.
on. So that was a very eventful month. Um, I was in the hospital for about 5 6 days. I literally didn't think I was going to make it. I was on oxygen for about 10 11 days, and I made a full recovery. Thank God for that.
Man.
So I go
Thank
back to the
God for that.
respiratory. Oh, so this is what the issue was. So they tested me for COVID another time. So all three of my results for COVID came back negative. So they're like, man, what is going on? We can't figure out what's going on with you. Um, Trey's mother-in-law, she knows a pulmonologist. She's like, I think it may be this, but can you run some tests on him to check and see? Boom. He pinpoints it. Oh, you have double pneumonia.
Double pneumonia?
Double pneumonia, bro. Double
What
pneumonia.
is that? That's crazy.
So it's when you have fluid in both of your lungs. So that's what
Oh,
pneumonia is, and the,
it's
the
I
medical
thought it
people
was
can
fluid on your lungs, not in your lungs, on
so
it.
on your lungs, something like that. So
Either way, you had double
either
it.
way, it was double.
That's
So and I've
crazy.
had pneumonia before, like a long time ago. I was 10, but double pneumonia. So you can imagine like how I was struggling to breathe.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't sip water. I had to take like small sips of water just to get anything down. I couldn't eat. I couldn't talk.
Mm.
So it was a drastic situation. But
How long were you in the recovery for that?
about 2 weeks, I stopped needing oxygen around the 10th day. But I think I fully recovered and was able to get back to doing my daily activities around the 14th, 15th day.
Man, that is crazy, bro. And it's all on top of the pandemic happening.
Yep. Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So that's like a hard shift to kind of come off of. Like I don't even know how to leave that subject without feeling rude. Because that's just crazy, man. I can't believe uh that you had to go through that. You know, especially at one of the worst climates in history, really, that I know of.
Yeah, it was scary, man, because around this time you couldn't even have visitors. So my mom couldn't see me, my dad couldn't see me.
Yeah.
Thank God my wife worked at the hospital that I went to. Trey's mother-in-law worked at the hospital that, I was admitted to. So I did have the comfort of them. And then of course, people FaceTiming and calling me. But
Yeah.
man, it's scary when you in that hospital by yourself. And then they put me on the COVID hall.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't have COVID, but they put me on the COVID hall.
Man.
Yeah.
That would have made everything exponentially worse.
Bro, I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna die. It was looking dark for me, but thank God
Glad
I
you
was
made
able
it
to
out,
come out of the
man.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Praise the Lord for real.
Really.
Um, man, so that's crazy that you had to go through that. But I do want to highlight your mindset in the midst of COVID prior to this incident, because when the pandemic hit, man, and it shut the whole world down, we literally had no income
Hmm.
for a significant amount of time. For me, it was no income for 4 months straight. 4 months straight, bro. So
Did y'all
from
get unemployment?
we didn't we did not, I don't think the industry got unemployment until probably like June. Like no, May. I'm sorry, May.
Gee.
Because uh it was at least a full 2 months before they allowed, like they had created some programs for barbers to get some type of money.
Hmm.
Um So, but for me, when I applied, I must have applied wrong or something.
Mm.
And I had to redo the whole process. So it took like up to 4 months for me to ever get a check
Oh
from them.
wow.
Yeah. And it was just bad, man. It was bad. And I remember the biggest, and this is one thing, this is why barbers, you need to be very conscious of how you spend your money when you're making the money,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't learn how to save or invest your money properly, then when moments come up, you will be out of money
Yep.
and need it. And thankfully, I was a person, as I'm a very frugal person. I don't love money, but what I do is I do appreciate the security that money provides. So I'll stack. I'm a stacker, and I had a lot of money at that time. And this is what lets me know how fast money can leave you, is when you don't have money coming in.
Yeah. Yep.
And so this is why it's so critical that us as barbers, we really do need to expand our mind and understands that we can't just make money off of our hands. We have to learn how to get other streams of revenue. We have to learn how to find multiple streams of income, because if we don't, when something happens to you, and something will happen, it don't matter if you hooping, it don't matter if you playing something and you mess your hand up, you sprain your ankle, you can't go to work,
Yep.
all of this stuff. If you don't have income coming in, then you'll see whatever money you have saved up is going to deplete quickly,
Quickly.
especially if you have any form of a good life. Any form of a good life, your money's going to be going so fast. And this is what I started to realize, because I was able to live off about 4 months of savings, right? And this is all my bills. I'm paying all my bills, from the mortgage to the PG&E to all of the different subscriptions that I had. Like, everything was getting paid through my savings.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I didn't have a like I didn't realize until this moment that I was a entrepreneur. Like, I didn't realize that. Like, before that moment, before 2020, I had the mindset of an employee. I figured that I came to work, and work was just going to be given to me. People was going to come, I was going to cut them, I was going to get paid, and that's how I just approached the industry. So this is like over 10 plus years of my situation, that I'm here operating a business with the mindset of an employee.
Mm-hmm.
And 2020, man, it just changed everything. And when we had to shut down in March, my mindset was, this ain't gonna be nothing but a couple weeks. And then a couple weeks turned into a couple months.
I think everybody thought like that, bro. Just a few
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah. And then those weeks went into months. And when the months hit almost 4 months, I was like, this has to stop. Like, when is when are we gonna be able to get back? My clients, man, I lost so many clients during that time, because there was so many barbers that were not respecting COVID. They
Mm-hmm.
were cutting at the house, going to people's, but I understand, though. Like, I really
Mm-hmm.
do understand.
Got
Like,
to make you a living.
this this was all we had for income.
Yep.
And we still, like, none of the bills stopped. Like, the way that the mortgage, like, the banks treated people during this time period was abusive. They did not care about the common person, but they
Nope.
wanted to get bailed out. But they did not let those that needed time to recover, they didn't help. So if the banks would have told the landlords, you don't have to pay your mortgage, we're going to put a reprieve on what you owe us, then the landlords could have said to the tenants, hey, y'all don't have to pay right now. But because the banks didn't do it, the
Yep.
landlords didn't do it. They was like,
Yep.
I still need my money.
Yep.
And it's like, well, we're not making money. Like, nobody's making money right now. Can y'all please help? And you had some people that would, some landlords would be okay with it, but the bills didn't stop during this point. And when you start to get I know for me, I started to get a pressure, I would say, to figure out how to make something happen
Mm-hmm.
without putting my health involved. And I was like, but I had no answers, bro. I wasn't a person that was about to say I'm about to start making products. My mind wasn't in that space, so I just kept depleting my savings. But this is what birthed me wanting to monetize something different besides my hands and besides just the physical labor of being a barber. And I was just like, I have to figure out something else. I have to figure out something else because I can't go through this again. I just
Right.
can't go through this again. So I think that's one of the positives about what happened during COVID is it forced different ones that were in our industry to become more than just a barber for that moment of time. Like you really had to think outside the box and think outside of your labor.
You had to
If you
get
were trying to,
creative.
you had to get very creative. You had to get very creative. So kudos to you, man. Kudos to you and doing everything. Sorry that the health situation kind of broke it up, but I wanted to ask you this: what do you feel like were some of the positives that happened from COVID?
Um, for me, I would say I kind of feel like you. Like, that's the moment when I went from being a barber to wanting to learn and understand business. Cause I mean, you think just because you had the title entrepreneur, barberpreneur, whatever you want to identify yourself as, um, that you know and understand business. And just because you're running a business don't mean that you completely understand and know the ins and outs of a business. I'm still learning to this day. Like I'm still, adjusting and making changes as I learn and as I grow. But that was the moment that I transformed from being a barber who cuts hair to being a business, but cutting hair is my platform.
Hmm.
So with that, and I man, like it was a it was an eye-opening experience for me because when I've been doing this and making money doing this since 2013 is when I really started making money. Up until 2019, very beginning of 2020, making
Hmm.
good money. So you always just think that this is going to be there, this opportunity is going to be there, clients are
Yeah.
always going to be there, and then boom, pandemic happened, or right now we're in a recession, and everything that happens in this world affects people. And if it affects the people that we cut, it affects our clients, it affects our customers, it also affects us.
Yeah.
So this is what made me want to, I'm still in search for it because I don't do the products anymore, but this is what's making me search for, I have to find a way to make passive income.
Yeah.
And I would like to do that using my platform. You thinking about other things. Um at one point I was contemplating leaving the industry. Me and you talked about that briefly,
Hmm.
but it was a thought because just the stability of being a barber. Yeah, you make good money when you're cutting and then you're established, but what happens when you go on vacation or you get sick or like pandemic happens, then you have to start eating through your savings and you can't get that money back.
Yeah.
It's a lot of earned time that you put into making that money, put that money away. But now it's like, okay, how can I make this money, save it, but not only save, invest, where to invest?
Yeah.
Do I invest in myself? How much do I invest in myself? That
Yeah.
it starts to get the brain going because it's like what I've been doing, I can't no longer just solely depend on being a barber. I have to
Yeah.
find another way to make multiple streams of income. So that was what changed for me during this pandemic. Like I have to find another way to make multiple streams of income. And then just two, um, man, we can't do this forever. I don't
Yeah.
want to do this
The
forever.
reality of you doing this
Yeah.
for 50 plus years at the ability to live the life you want, because that's
Mhm.
that's the difference. Like some people be like, man, I could cut hair forever. You can, but you can't cut hair forever living the life you want.
Mhm.
Like you can't do that. If you
Eventually, you're gonna want to slow down.
you gonna have to, like, your body is gonna tell you, yo, you gonna have arthritis, you're gonna have carpal
Mhm.
tunnel, you're gonna, the way that you used to be able to stand for hours is it's gonna start to, your knees is gonna start to hurt, your feet are gonna start to hurt, your hips are gonna start to hurt, especially if you do outside exercises, if you hoop,
Mhm.
if you play any form of sports, any type of exercise outside of, you're gonna start to it's gonna impact you on your day-to-day routines. No
Yep.
matter how, you work out and you go to the gym and you do all this stuff, you lift weights, that's
Still
good.
breaking your body down.
Yeah, over time it's going to deteriorate, and plus you want to live life, bro. Like
Mm.
you're not living while you're working. That's not the same.
No.
You are, and a lot of people don't realize that they're in the cycle because they are living to work
Mhm.
instead of working to live.
No.
They're waking up every day and focused on working. And that's all they're focused on, so much so that when at a certain point, you get to your late mid 30s, you get to your late early 40s, you get to your 50s, you're like, man, I'm tired of this. Like you're gonna
Mhm.
get tired of it because you're gonna realize that you want to live life.
Right.
And you can't live life when you're stuck behind the chair. And so that is the reason why I got so passionate, was 2020 caused me to understand what you're talking about. And I was like, the fact that I ate through my savings this way is not cool.
Right.
Like I was solid. My savings was like very
Yeah.
good.
Me too.
And I was in a good space mentally. Mentally, when you see a good cushion,
Yeah.
you feel some type of way.
Yep.
And I was feeling that type of way. But when I ate through my savings in a matter of months, I was like, I cannot just, like you said, I can't just earn my way back into what I did.
Mhm.
Like that took years to build up and months to leave. And so I was like, okay, I have to figure out multiple streams of income, different ways to make money. But this is the thing that I started to learn about business, is if you go into business and your whole focus is money, you won't grow.
No.
You won't grow because there's no heart behind it. There's no real you behind it. Everybody's going to look at you and realize that it's a quick get quick scheme type
Mhm.
of thing. And therefore, you won't be successful. You'll get like quick money, but you won't get long money. You won't get long term money. And that's a huge difference when it comes to like business, because we think business is just the art of making money, but it's not the art of making money. It's the art of making money over time.
Mhm.
And there's ways that you do it where first it's going to be hard work, then it's going to become efficient work, where people talk about work smarter, not harder. Then it comes to learning how to work less but make more. And then you learn how to make money without having to work at all. But those are all like layers that you go through in any good business. And we get stuck as barbers with working hard for the money. That's most of what we do, all of us do. And then the second thing that we do is we learn to work more efficient, work smarter, not harder. But a lot of us really never work less and make more. We'll we'll charge more, but we're not working less. We're
Right.
working either the same amount of time, or you may drop an hour or two. But working less, that's not the same as, okay, instead of me doing 8 to 10 hours a day, I'm doing 2 or 3 hours a day, or I'm doing a whole day less a week.
Mhm.
Because you know what I mean? Like that's when you really start to shift in that. And then on top of that, the next phase is, like I said, you learning how to make money without having to work at all or very little. And that's where you come into passive income, because you got earned income, you got residual income, and then you got passive income. And we have to learn those things so that we can fortify ourselves, because right now most of us are trapped behind the chair, and you have to see your way out of it. But how you see your way out of it is you have to see how you're stuck. If you don't see how you're stuck, then you'll never be able to get yourself to be free.
I like that. I like what you just said. You have to see that you're stuck, because if you can't see that you're stuck, then you won't know how to set yourself free. I like
Yeah.
that. You need to
Yeah.
put that on a shirt, bro.
Yeah, it's a revelation, man, for me, man, because I saw myself being stuck.
Yep.
Like I really did. I saw it. I was like, I'm trapped behind the chair
Yep.
and
And
I
then you
can't
get
get out. Like I didn't have a way out.
no,
And but I wasn't what you said earlier. I wasn't frustrated with the industry. Like it's not that I wanted to be a different than a barber. Like I
right.
still wanted to be a barber. It wasn't no change in my heart towards barbering. It's just that barbering wasn't meeting the needs anymore alone, and I had to figure out a way to make other means of income. But using barbering as my platform has been the best decision that I could have made, because
Yeah.
when you think about multiple streams of income, people think that you have to get outside of your lane,
No.
and you really don't. What you need to do is learn how all of the different ways within your lane that you can make money, because that will actually expand your mind even in what it is that you do. You will look at it and say, okay, I'm a barber. What do barbers do? Right? Barbers, one, we cut hair. But another thing that we do is we communicate. We
Hmm.
communicate a lot. We speak into existence a lot of people's future. We give people encouragement to do things that they would have not thought of. We give ideas. We do a lot of stuff and we really impact people, but we don't take advantage of that from a monetary perspective. And it's not to do it with the intent only to get money, but to add value to somebody else's life in
Yep.
different ways is really where you make money. And the way that you're going to make money in this industry is you be conscious of the impact that you have on people that's coming to your chair.
Yep.
How do you impact them? The more you impact them positively outside of just you cutting their hair or you doing their facial, is the avenues in which you can make more money. But if you don't understand what to look for, you don't understand how to be, then you'll be stuck and you'll start saying, you know what? I need to get into stock trading, which is good. Like you can do that. I'm in the stocks myself. But to really make good money, you really have to know what you're doing.
Hmm.
Or you have to invest and just wait and
Yep.
let your money grow. Or you're gonna say, you know what, man, I need to get into real estate, bro. Like I need to get into real estate. And again, that's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time for you to one stack your bread so that you can invest in some property. Or you're going to have to figure out some type of scheme, not scheme. There's ways to get in, but you're going to have to figure that out. And it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of energy in your mind and effort on your part to learn how to do that. Then you're going to have other things that you can do that feel like get quick rich type schemes, like,
Hmm.
and they're out there. I mean, a lot of us got hit with them during the pandemic. We was all on Instagram late night, YouTube late night, trying to figure out how to make more money and all of these different things. But really, if you took the time to really understand the platform of being a barber, we have multiple streams of income just by being a barber, because you actually are a business. Not you yourself are a business, you own a business, and as you owning a business, labor is one way that you make money, and that's you cutting the hair, you're doing the services. But if you don't realize all the different ways that you really impact a client, then you're missing other opportunities of money. And that's what made me get into education. Like that was the reason why, because I saw how during the pandemic, what I had set up before the pandemic, I needed to go all in on what I was doing for my clients, when it comes to providing value outside of the chair. I wasn't doing that wholeheartedly before. I was just cutting hair, and if you did this, then you did this, and I made a little bit extra money, but I wasn't thinking of it like that.
Right.
But after the pandemic, I was like, oh no, like I got to do more of this, because
Yeah.
this is another stream of income. And then when I get back to cutting and I get back to being behind the chair, I felt the tethers loosen up, because I had income coming from other areas that allowed me to be like, oh, okay, I can see me getting from behind the chair, or at least not being stuck. I could walk
Yeah.
off when I want to, or I can come when I want to. My ideal schedule, I'm not there yet, but I got it in my head.
Yeah.
I'm 3 days.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Absolutely.
I'm I'm a 3 day. I'm gonna be 3 days working. I'm working Wednesday, Thursday,
Friday.
and Friday. And Thursday I get off at 5.
Yep.
Um, yeah, Thursdays I get off at 5, and I may work Saturday mornings, but I actually think I'm not. Like when I get to my ideal space, I don't think I'm working Saturdays no more. I'm gonna
Me
be
neither.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, me neither. Like that's a goal of mine to work behind the chair, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I can have Saturday through Tuesday off. And the reason why I want that to be a goal is because, man, a lot of people have, I'm speaking to the general public, but a lot of people have great ideas, but they either don't have the resources to invest in their idea, or they don't have the time, or they manage their time poorly.
Hmm.
But I know for me, when I really start focusing on something that I want to do that's going to add value to me, not just monetarily, but just to add value, period, it's like, man, why am I stuck? We talked about this on Barber Burnout. The reason why I'm stuck is because one of the reasons I'm stuck is because I don't have the time, or I'm misusing my time. But when I get rid of distractions and time wasters and things that not adding value to me, and actually sit down and devote, it could be 30 minutes. You can do 30 minutes a day, you can do 2 hours a week. But if you sit down and devote some time to your ideals, your goals, and plan, you can grow so much, you can accomplish so much. It's
Yeah,
like you just need the time, but you got to realize, like you was saying earlier, you got to see that you're stuck.
yeah,
And when you realize that you're stuck, you will start to dig yourself out of being stuck.
yeah. I like to talk about frustration is probably the biggest power when it comes to you being able to be free.
Hmm.
Because frustration is not anger. Like anger is emotions overwhelmed you, right? You've been overwhelmed and then you just kind of like do stupid stuff, or you shut down, right? You so angry, like you can't control yourself. But frustrations, it allows you to focus. Like it really does, because it's like a fly in the room or a hair splinter of some sort. Like it's like, what is that? But you pay attention. That's what a frustration will make you do. You can keep moving, but you realize what is making you frustrated, and you're like, okay, I need to figure this out. It allows you to focus. It allows you to take actionable steps to changing something, you know, and I think it's better than fear. Like frustration is better than fear, because you typically with fear you're going to be running away from something that's not really a danger.
Hmm.
It's as they say, it's false evidence appearing real. So you'll like run from something that's not really a true danger, and therefore you can make mistakes. We see that in movies, people tripping over stupid stuff and dying because they was afraid. But frustration, it really does cause you to focus. And if we were that's what I think 2020 was able to do, and the pandemic, it was able to, one, allow us to see what was frustrating us, because it let us see what we really valued. Like when you strip down your life into, you can't leave the house, you can't um you can't go out and make money, then it brought into perspective, like how deep are your relationships with
Hmm.
people. How deep are your relationships with people, especially if you lived in the house with a wife, or your partner of any sort. Like me and my wife, we was like all there all the time,
Yeah.
all like no break whatsoever. And so I know that she was like irritated with me, because I'm there the whole time, like, hey, hey. And then she's there like, I'm like, man, where's my space? Like I need space. But we was there
I
like
like
all the time.
I
But
like how
we
you
talked.
carefully said that.
Yeah, we talked a lot more than and what's good, man. I like I had my dark days though. Like no lie. Like there was some moments where um I was going through like internal, like I was tripping. I was, as I guess, being disconnected from everybody for such amount of time. Like it really played on my mind,
Yeah.
and this when mental health like became a thing for the whole
Mhm.
world, um, and it really played with my mind. Like you start to, I don't know, I started tripping in different ways, but I was really appreciative that my wife was a friend. At that point, it was just like, man, we can talk and be cool talking, because there was a lot of people that that didn't make it through didn't make it through 2020
Yeah.
and that pandemic. But I really appreciate just the quality of friendship that me and my wife have, because it was pushed to the test during that time period. um yeah, but there was also, what was I about to say? I lost track with just going into my little happy time with my wife. I got lost in Alice in Wonderland. That's funny.
But no, I can see how it definitely could mess with you mentally because it kind of did that with me too. Because I know for me, I'm introverted. So I've always
Oh,
grown up.
it was a great time for you then.
It was, but it also affected me because I'm so used to talking to people. Like, you could I'm like I said, I'm introverted, but in this industry, it's really no place to be introverted. You have to
Yeah.
engage with your clients, you have to engage with your customers. So I'm just so used to having conversations with people all day, every day. And then on my ride home from work to home, it's my quiet time. Come home and decompress for an hour or so. But man, I'm sitting in the house quiet all day. Like my wife wasn't at home with me. My wife was at work.
Oh yeah.
So I'm at home all day, me and the dog. Me and the dog. The only thing I heard was barks. So I can definitely see how it can mess with you mentally because when you're so used to something and it's taken away from you, it's almost like cutting off your leg. You've been used to walking around your whole life, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have that leg no more. Consciously, you still trying to make that step, then you fall over because, oh man, I don't have that leg there no more.
Yeah.
So it messes with you.
Yeah. It messed with a lot of people, man. But I think through that, I was able to value a lot of the relationships that I have. I I mean, Zoom stock skyrocketed during this time because video conferencing was how we stayed connected to each other.
Yeah.
Being able to get on different Zoom calls and just connect with your friends and talk again. There was so many people that I had called that I had not called, connections that I had not made in so long. I mean, finally you reached back out to me, bro. Like, as so many voicemails I had left that you just didn't respond to,
don't don't
text
do that.
messages. I
Don't
mean, my goodness.
don't
I
do
would
that.
like all your photos on Instagram, nothing, no response.
It's not true,
But
people.
here we go, and but then when we was in the same space, man, we reconnected, and we haven't disconnected since, man. We haven't disconnected since. So I'm thankful for the pandemic because it brought you back to my life.
People don't let Bradford lie to you. I always stay connected. This guy got married and forgot all about his little
That's
bro.
not true. His connection was AOL dial up. Like bad. That was your connection to me, man. I was like, man, what's going on? Where's
Oh man, man,
Delmar?
man, the kids don't know what AOL is, man.
Oh, they don't got that. They
They
don't
don't
got
have
that in their
dial up.
mind. That
No,
that classic noise, man.
they
That's
missed them days. AOL
they,
dial up.
yeah,
They lucky. We didn't even have Wi-Fi.
yeah,
You had to plug straight into the wall.
right in the wall. Man, that's crazy. So, what do you think has been for you one of the biggest business shifts since COVID?
Mm,
I have one. Actually, I'm gonna ask you, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna let you come up with your own answer for this. So, during the midst of COVID, we all went through different changes. You specifically had your own barbershop with Traven.
I knew
You
you was
guys
going.
ran it, yeah,
I knew where you
because
was going.
the people need to know. The people need to know and to understand your perspective, because so many barbers did what you're doing but didn't have the same mindset. And then some people want to go from being in a barbershop setting and to being in their own studio or suite type of a setup. But give some insight into how it was for you, because I did the same thing where I shifted as well. But you, I think, did even a bigger shift because you moved locations, you moved business strategies, you moved a lot. So go into that, because I think that was a big rebirth for you from this pandemic situation that you were in as well.
So with me shifting into from the traditional barbershop setting to being in the suite now, I had to blame some of that on you
What?
because and I say that because
Blame.
although you started off when you didn't start off, but you eventually transitioned to Javant's in California,
Hmm.
you still had your own area. So my first introduction to something professionally was that. I know you had another barber in there, but it was me, you, and the other barber. She would be there sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But I always wanted that feeling. I never was a part of a traditional barbershop setting until I got to the first shop where me and Trey were in 2012, the end of 2012. And then of course me and him go and we get MVP Barbers in 2014. MVP Barbers is created. And then we move in there and we started hiring people. Like we created opportunities for people who weren't even thinking about becoming barbers. So we kind of built a bond. It's kind of like, you got your work family. So we
Yeah.
built a bond of brotherhood with those guys, and me and Chapin, we always wanted to see them grow because we were constantly growing. But then eventually I felt stuck personally. It had nothing to do with them. I felt stuck personally and I couldn't figure out why. And then I started seeing, like you said, Mo Barber started going into the suite setting. But I didn't want to just be a barber going into a suite setting. I wanted to, when I do this, it was a change for me completely. Like on a personal level, it was a change for me on a business level, like how my business is structured. Because my business didn't have any structure. Just what I was doing personally, it didn't have any structure. So when I moved into the suite, I changed name, Royal Lux Grooming, um, and I wanted the transition to reflect who I was as a person at that time and who I am now.
Hmm.
Um, so it's definitely a different setting. At first, I was scared, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was afraid to make that transition. Like I contemplated about it for a year. A lot of people don't even know that. Like in my mind, I thought about it during the pandemic. It had to be like the end of 2021, I want to say. I thought
Yeah.
about it. No, 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 my bad. It was the beginning of 2021. And I was thinking about it all year long. And then it finally clicked for me like this is something that I have to do for me. Like I
Yeah.
have to do for me. I had to get out of my comfort zone. I got too comfortable being in a setting and relying on um other people because you get comfortable. That's what you do when you get comfortable. You rely on other people.
Yeah.
And I was no longer challenging myself. So I was like, I need a new challenge. I don't know how this gonna work. I do have the brand. I built up a good brand that people are familiar with, but it still was, fearful.
Yeah.
But I'm not a person that live in fear. So I was like, it could not work, but it also could work. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I took the chance of it working. Of course, I got some great advice from some people that I know, and they pointed me in the right direction. And we just made a year. Royal Let's Grooming just made a year last month in June,
Oh
and
man.
it's been
Congratulations.
thank you. And it's been nothing but growth and smooth sailing since. I did a lot of praying, and I just have to say that I'm very thankful for how my business has transitioned.
Man, that's beautiful. That really is a beautiful testament because you could have failed.
Could have, could
You
have,
could have
because you think
failed.
about clients not coming with you to the new location, and it's not that far away from where I
Yeah,
was. But your clients get comfortable too. And the crazy thing though, Brad, is some of my clients that I have, when they would come to the shop, they wouldn't talk that much.
yeah, yeah,
So we get in an intimate setting now because it's just one on one. It's not a shop full of people. They open up more. I'm like, man, I didn't even know you can talk.
yeah,
I ain't never know what you sound like. So I kind of enjoy that too because I get to connect with my clients more.
yeah,
I get to pay more attention to them.
yeah,
I do miss the old shop setting. We would have debates about sports, shows, movies,
yeah,
things like that. Like that's the one element that I do miss, and then engaging with other people's clients as well. And
yeah,
because you get to know those people and build a bond with them too. Although you're not their barber, but you still build a relationship with those
yeah,
people.
yeah.
So that was hard for me to adjust to.
That's the only dynamic that I wish I could shift. And what's funny is I'm growing into what you left, right? But not a barber shop though. I'm not going to a barber shop setting. Um the thing that I'm trying to do is establish an environment where I can bring a barber. I just want one barber in my space, and we as a team provide another level of barbering for our clients. I don't have that barber as of yet. And so right now it still feels like that intimate, one-on-one setting. But pre-pandemic, I had two other barbers with me,
Hmm.
right? Two other barbers with me, and it wasn't another level of barbering. Like I wasn't that brand yet. That came during the pandemic. But what it did, I did have the elements of it because I'm a person that makes sure that everybody stays connected. Like, so I hate when people come into my environment and don't feel comfortable,
Hmm.
or they're comfortable in their own little silo and don't feel comfortable having other people a part of their little bubble. Now, if you busy or whatever, that's fine, but you're not about to just sit down and not acknowledge people. That's rude.
Hmm.
So I was always good at, saying hello, greeting people, and then making sure that I introduced the new person to everybody that was in the room because I had connections to them. So I would say, oh, this is so and so, this is so and so, this is whatever. And based on what I knew about these people, I would learn something about that new person and then connect them. I would say, oh man, that's crazy that you do such and such because that person, what, hey man, what are you? And I would like bring everybody in. So we would have like room wide discussions from time to time, and that's what I do miss is the ability to have input from different points of view that adds to the conversation, but yet it doesn't take away from the speed in which you're able to execute the service. Because man, some barbers they can't talk and cut at the same
No.
time, and they need to be quiet.
Yeah.
But some people can learn how to ask the right types of questions to allow the person to talk or to allow
Hmm.
people to talk so that they can stay focused on working, but yet it's actual conversation.
Right.
And I that's one of the things that I like, and so I'm gonna grow back into that because I feel like that's a missing element that my clients were used to having, and I want that back myself. But right now it's that intimate setting, and like you said, like you really do build meaningful relationships, meaningful connections with your clients. And like we were talking about, when you're able to do that, then you are introducing yourselves to the opportunity to have multiple streams of income if you understand what this person values, because you can be the person that provides that value to them if you understand what you're doing.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I got some things that's about to come out in the near future, and we got to actually talk about what are we doing. Not this episode. This episode is over. This episode.
No, but, but, but
What?
before we end,
What?
I do want to say that I am looking forward to this URCEO Run My Business challenge that we're
Yeah.
doing together. We're doing it together. So I'm looking to see what we both get out of it, because I definitely want to grow and branch off and do some different things in this platform.
Yeah.
I know you don't believe me because we had a conversation about a month or two ago.
No, it's all good. I was praying that there was a phase, like a just a like
It,
Barber
it was
Burnout was
it was
speaking.
it was one. It was definitely the burnout speaking.
I was hoping it was just you was just speaking from the burnout situation.
Yeah, it definitely was the burnout speaking. But nah, definitely looking forward to this Run My Business challenge,
Yeah.
and to see what we both gain from it, and then we can come together collectively and work on some things.
Yeah.
Because
So it's
although I'm the Prince Royalist Grooming, it would be no Prince Royalist Grooming without Brad and another level of barbering.
man, I appreciate that. And just so you all know, and we're gonna drop a link in the description. We are both a part of we both like study business in different ways, and so I got connected and he got connected to a company called CEO, and the company is ran by a person named Michael E. Parker. He is a a powerful, like, nationally known business leader.
We're gonna get him on the show one day.
We
Not
gonna
this
get
season
him. Yeah, we gonna get him on the show because we do, based on us becoming students in different ways to some of his products and some of the different things. We have good relationships with him, but we're taking a challenge to learn how to run business better. And so, anytime that you're in business, you always want to know how to do it better. You want to grow, you want to develop, and he's not a barbering coach, right? He doesn't teach barbers how to be barbers. He teaches businesses how to be better businesses. And when you realize that you are a barber, but because you have the title of barber, by default, if you have a license, if you're not a garage criminal, if
ago.
if you actually have a license, then that means that you technically are an entrepreneur. And because you're an entrepreneur, you have the opportunity to own a business. Owning a business has to do with habits that you create that allow you to make money. Where entrepreneurs, they just going out and they're trying to solve a whole bunch of problems, which is what we do. We just go and try and cut heads as much as we can, but we don't understand the way business runs. So, and that's what I try my best to talk to the different barbers that I connect with and have connected with me, is I try to show them the difference between regular business and then how business applies to barbering. And that's where my passion is helping barbers understand business, and not like all these detailed stuff, but I try to make the business of barbering very simple. But it's because we're going to information in places like this Run My Business challenge that we're able to come back to you all as barbers or other professionals and give you some game on how you can improve what you're doing as a barber, because we understand business stuff. So this is one of the challenges that me and him are doing together. He finally joined me on one of the things that I'll be trying to get him to get in on. So we've done some stuff in the past, but this one is going to be very special because we're going to be doing it together at the exact same time, so that we can continue to be what we talking about, elevated barbers.
Elevated Barbers, that's right. So don't
Yeah.
forget to subscribe to us. But also, while we plugging in URCEO, make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channel too. There's tons of gems on their
Oh
YouTube,
yeah.
tons of gems on their social media. So make sure you
Plug that
go
on the. We'll
ahead.
put that in the description too.
Yeah, we'll plug that in. Make sure y'all follow URCEO.
All right, y'all. So as today was, man, we got into some really good conversation about the impact of the pandemic on businesses and barbers. And hopefully you enjoyed it, because it's time to level up.
This is the Prince with my co-host Bradford Kelly. Elevated Barbers. I'm out.